can kick around if you like. But without further ado, let's get this list started. And because it's only 11 and there are 16 teams in the NFL, that means some whole teams didn't make the list. And for that, we had to whack somebody. We had to call in a contract killer. A contract unaliver. Pete the Unaliver coming in to whack some teams for us.
So we got to set the table, because I know a couple people might have been here for the first time to understand who Pete the Unaliver is. So, if we're going to do a top 11 room, well, there's 16 teams in the NFC. Now, if there are no teams that have 2 linebackers, then that means that automatically 5 rooms got to get whacked right off the top. Now, both Michael and I have lists, so there are 22 chances for them to make the list. But what we need to do is we need to get rid of all the trimmings right here. And there are some common names that are on this list, like this first person that's on the list right here, which happens to be the Arizona Cardinals. Pete comes in, he takes care of the room.
It's my quarterback.
Take care of that thing for you.
And I appreciate you, Pete the Unaliver. And that way we don't have to worry about any linebackers from the Arizona Cardinals. Are there any notables right here that you want to bring up before we move on to the next room already?
Not at all. Arizona's been whacked on so many categories on this.
I just saved the graphic.
These rankings that we've done, they've been whacked because they're a team that doesn't have a lot. They stripped it all down, brought in Jonathan Gannon, new coach. They got a couple of draft picks over there, but they have no notable linebackers on the team. And just for clarification, we are not grading rooms, right, Russ? We're grading actual player, single linebacker.
Linebacker, singular dude. In the middle linebackers. We're not going to go to the outside ones. We are not doing pass rushing linebackers, which excludes guys like Micah Parsons. So if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, don't come at us because we're not counting him as a linebacker. Come back on the pass rushing episode.
Yeah, he is actually listed as a defensive end anyway.
Okay, cool.
And I looked at a bunch of those that are listed as defensive ends. The guys they brought into Minnesota now are basically defensive ends. Jonathan Greenard, even though he plays like a linebacker a lot of times, but
so this is off-ball linebackers.
Off-ball linebackers, exactly what we're doing. So Arizona Cardinals, the first team to be wiggity whack.
Take care of that thing for you.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you for getting those Cardinals out of here. Lions, of course, going to play the Cardinals in the first 3 weeks of the season. I think it's game 3, right?
Right.
We get the first 2 old playoff teams, Rams and Bucks, for the first 2 games. Then we go out to Arizona to play this team. I like that we're getting them early before they can get a chance and their young players get a chance to gel. You're talking about a Cardinals team that beat the Cowboys last year. I think they beat the Niners too. They beat Philadelphia.
That's a rivalry game, man.
They beat somebody good. They beat Philadelphia
That's
too.
Fine. That's fine.
Okay, so I'm just saying this team can be dangerous. And I'm glad we're getting them at the beginning of the team, but they don't have a linebacker in the top 11, so they get whacked.
Well, I was going to say, since we were talking about, how Micah Parsons isn't going to make the list, that just gave us a good opportunity to go ahead and have Pete go ahead and take care of this Dallas Cowboys room.
It's my quarterback.
Yeah, this one was tough for me. They do have Eric Kendricks, who's a true linebacker, and he's a good one. Okay, he's really good. But Damone Clark, Maris Liufau is also the linebackers core there. None of those guys met the threshold of the best 11 in the NFC for me, even though Kendricks was a fringe player for me. They rely on that defensive line and Micah Parsons and those guys to create havocs. And a lot of these linebackers for Dallas Cowboys, they don't eat as much. So their stats aren't there, but they're a solid group. But we're not ranking groups, we're ranking individuals, and Eric Kendricks just fell short of the top 11 for me. So the most hated team in the land and the most loved team in the land, the Dallas Cowboys, are whacked.
Oh, my gosh. And I don't mind that either. And here's another thing, too, guys. If you don't make the top 11 linebackers, a lot of teams have 2 really good linebackers. So it's it doesn't mean that you're not good at football. I mean, really, the top 40 linebackers are probably really good in football, but we're just talking about these guys are really the high-end guys, and I like to give a lot of credit to guys that did well last year, maybe a little more than Mike does, and we have a good balance of guys when it's all said and done here. So no more Cowboys. And one that was kind of tough for me right here was this next one for me, which had some really good guys, but right here, the Seattle Seahawks. We had to have Pete the Unaliver come in and take care. With some of my favorite line, with Wagner being gone, he was their best guy. I mean, you're really going to be counting on some unproven guys. Doesn't mean they're not going to be good.
They lost a good one in Jordan Brooks as well, a very good linebacker, went to the Miami Dolphins. He would have made this list, but now he's in the AFC. Bobby Wagner would have made this list for Seattle, but he was left to the Commanders now. Still in the NFC for Bobby Wagner, a first ballot Hall of Famer. They do have a really good guy in Uchenna Nueso, who's a very good linebacker. He's in that same category as Eric Kendricks in Dallas, where he's good. He's just barely on the fringe to make this list, but I couldn't justify trading him for any of the guys that are on my list, but he's definitely good. They also have Boye Mafe, who was coming into his second year, a high draft pick for them, playing linebacker out of the University of Minnesota, showed a lot of promise as a rookie. Boye Mafe is a player we might see on this list next year. But right now, Seattle Seahawks do not have a top linebacker in the top 11 in the NFC, so they get unalived.
Took care of that thing for you.
Thank you, Pete.
And thank you, Pete.
These Carolina Panthers are a hard cut for you? They weren't hard. They weren't hard for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, where were they at? I thought I already put the Panthers on there.
Oh man, they do have Shaq Thompson and DJ Wanham, so really good. Those guys could start on any team in the league. Okay, they're good linebackers. Josie Jewell, I don't know. It sounds like a British pop star to me, but I don't think that Josie Jewell, DJ Wanham, and Shaq Thompson, any of those three are good enough to crack the 11. So Carolina, they've been whacked for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end, and now they are also whacked on the other side of the ball. What used to be the strength of this Carolina team, they've lost Brian Burns, they've lost all kinds of pieces left and right, and they're just not backfilling those positions with top-tier talent, in my opinion. And they're in trouble down there in the NFC South, and they are whacked off the villain squad list.
Took care of that thing for you.
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally deleted their graphic, and they've been on every single one.
So Carolina, you are so pitiful that Russell Wayne did not even give a crap about your slide.
When I'm short on time, it's your slide. Forget your slide.
For the linebacker room, not having a single linebacker that would crack the top 11 on our list. Who's the last team?
Well, I mean, we're realistic fans, Mike, and we're trying to do this in the right way, and there was no realistic, homeristic way that I could put one of our very own linebackers in the top 11. Yeah. Sorry.
Took care of that thing for you.
That one hurts. That's where I'm glad that we have Pete. And, if Sarah's watching or some of these Bear fans and thinking that we're just going to throw all of our guys on all these lists just because we're a bunch of homers, that is not the intention here. And I am sorry to hurt Lions fans. And I cannot condone putting, it would be Alex Anzalone if it was somebody that was going in there. I cannot put somebody in the top 11 that isn't even the best linebacker on his own team. So I just can't do it. I'm sorry. And for that reason, I got to put it up there twice because it really hurts me.
Took care of that thing for you.
Which is the reason I'm glad that we have a guy like Pete.
And this is the first time the Lions have been whacked on our rankings, and it's rightly so because it's on the defense where the Lions rank 27th in the whole league. So it makes sense that all the Lions players make our list on the offensive ball. They're an offensive juggernaut, this team. So linebacker room.
Lost all our viewers. Hey, you know what? Hey, if we lose people from watching the show that are Lion fans that don't want to hear truth, we don't have a top 11 linebacker in the NFC, guys. I'm sorry. We just don't.
Honestly, if we were ranking rooms, I think the Lions might make the 11 list.
Maybe.
If we were ranking the room. but we're not. We're individual players. We don't have one linebacker as good as the others that are on this list. Let's put it in the comments. Let us know what you think about this list. Or if maybe the Lions, you got no thoughts on that? We whacked the whole linebacker room. Do you agree or don't agree?
Yep.
So that's the teams that get whacked. Arizona, Seattle, Carolina, Dallas, and Detroit.